All right, let's dive into something kind of provocative today. We're going to tackle a question that you've probably heard floating around. What's really the difference between a wife and a girlfriend? We're going to break down this really interesting online monologue that argues they're not just different roles. They're from two completely different worlds. So let's get right into it. So the whole thing kicks off with this really bold question right here. It asks, why do people often prefer their girlfriends over their wives? Whoa, I mean, that's designed to get you thinking, right? It's all about the expectations we have in our relationships, and that's really the core idea we're going to unpack today. And the answer, according to this monologue, it's actually pretty simple, but wow, it's powerful. The argument is that these aren't just titles, wife, girlfriend. No, they represent two totally separate worlds. And, you guessed it, each world has its own set of rules. Okay, so let's break this down. On one side, you've got the spousal world. This is, well, it's the real deal. It's the shared house, the 24/7 togetherness, the family building. It's life, totally unfiltered. But then you have the dating world. Think of it like a highlight reel, right? It's all about those curated, special moments. It's focused on sweet talk and connection. And honestly, there's just not enough time for the really deep conflicts to bubble up. So if you're living in two different worlds, it makes sense that you'd speak two different languages, right? And that's exactly the next point. It's all about the style of conversation. What you talk about and how you talk about it is just completely different. And this example, oh man, it just hits the nail on the head. With a spouse, the talk is all about the nitty-gritty of daily life. Hey, there's no salt in this, or you put way too much turmeric in that. It's practical. It can even sound a little critical. It's not always romantic because you're basically running a small business together, the business of life. But then you flip the coin. With a girlfriend, the dynamic is totally different. The idea here is that she'll always say sweet things to you. Because your time together is limited, the whole interaction is kind of optimized for feeling good. It's all about positive vibes, not complaining about the salt. And all this really brings us to the structure of the relationship itself. It's not just about what you say. It's about the time you're actually spending together. Think about it. Is it constant, unfiltered, 24/7 reality? Or is it occasional, polished, and planned? Yeah, so the argument goes that marriage is just constant. You're always there. You see each other's faces all day, every day. You see all the good stuff for sure, but you also see all the not so good stuff. The tired, the cranky, the sick. There's just no filter. It's a completely shared, unfiltered reality. And that is a million miles away from a scheduled dinner date, right? All right, now this next part is, it's a little unexpected. It's a surprisingly practical and honestly kind of funny take on what happens when you fight. Turns out, there's a financial angle to all this. So get this. The argument is when a wife gets angry, what happens? Maybe she gives you the silent treatment. And in a weird way, that actually saves money, right? No extra spending. But when a girlfriend gets angry, that can lead to a lot of expenses. We're talking apology dinners, gifts, you know the drill. It's a pretty cynical take, I'll admit, but it definitely points out the different stakes involved. Okay, so let's pull all these pieces together. We've got different worlds, different ways of talking, different daily realities, and even different financial outcomes when you argue. When you put it all together, the monologue comes to this final, really powerful conclusion about just how huge the gap is between these two relationships. And the whole argument is summed up perfectly in this Hindi phrase, Zameen Asman Ka Fark. This is the core metaphor, the big takeaway. It captures everything we've been talking about. So what in the world does it mean? Well, it literally translates to the difference between the earth and the sky. And think about that for a second. It's not just saying they're a little bit different, it's saying they are on two completely separate planes of existence. One is grounded, right here on Earth, with all its messiness and reality. The other, it's up there, like the sky, beautiful, idealized, and maybe a little out of reach. So here's the final breakdown, the two distinct paths. First, the spouse. She's your partner in reality. She's the mother of your children, the manager of your home. She's in the trenches with you. And second, the girlfriend. She's your partner for those curated moments. You meet up for fun, for pleasant experiences. See, they're just fulfilling two totally different functions in life. And then the monologue gets a bit more philosophical. It leaves us with this thought. This is the truth. We keep wandering around in search of a happiness that is already there. Wow. It really points out a classic human mistake, doesn't it? We're always looking for this perfect, idealized happiness somewhere else. And maybe, just maybe, we're overlooking the real, complicated, but genuine happiness that's right in front of us. And it all wraps up with one last really challenging question for all of us. Everyone knows this, but who wants to accept it? The suggestion here is that deep down, we all get this. We know it's true. So the real mystery is, why is it so hard for us to just accept it? Why do we struggle with the trade-offs? Definitely something to chew on. Thanks for digging into this with me today.